It was the Dharawal language, but they didn't talk around the kids. Our mission manager, Mr. Jones, wouldn't allow them to talk in their language. So it sort of went out when, we lost it. Until only Beryl and that brought it back, yeah. And it was great to learn the words again. But we wasn't allowed to sit around while they talked in their language because they used to get in trouble off the mission manager. Words that we've grown up with, wallang, money, Mary, dog. What else? What?
You can talk.
All right.
You can say it, Nance. You can say what
Talk, sis. You gotta talk.
Go.
Punj.
And then what it means.
Can you
Go.
say it? Yeah. Is that what it means?
Just say.
You say what it means.
What else?
What other Dharawal words do we know?
Magarang is snake. Lizard.
What's the snake?
Gari is a snake. Bugala is a mouse.
What about the bird? We know Bujan. We know Wuliwulawala as the sun. We know Gardu as the ocean. We know like commands to come or to go or
Nandawabi.
to Nandawabi. We know greetings, Nandawabi and Nagambi.
Nandawabi's bye.
Yep, Nagambi's like hello.
The Dharawal language is the language of my people. My mother always spoke about the Dharawal as being her clan, but she never knew the language. She would also talk about hopefully one day bringing the language back. I remember as a kid, like a teenager, going to school, Matraville High School, and one of our elders, Joe Timbry, he used to get on the bus and he would speak the language to us thinking that we knew it. And like none of us knew what he was saying. We used to say, we used to think that he was just talking gibberish because Uncle Joe Timbry, he was one of our older elders, and when he'd get the bus, he just used to talk language all the time. He knew a lot of the language. He was taught by his father. Some families were too scared to speak language, so it was never passed down, but the Timbry family continued passing it down, like in their home or when they would go and speak, but they never spoke while white people were around, for the fear, just for a fear. So we didn't actually learn it because you weren't allowed to speak language. You had to speak English, and you had to go to Sunday school, and you had to do the things that the missionaries actually told you to do.
It's the Dharawal language, and it's something that I've been quite passionate about. I first learnt about it in the early 2000s, and when it was beginning to be incorporated into Gajaga childcare, and that's when I first, learnt about it, and we started to teach to the kids there. I mean, the kids were just like sponges. They were at a point where they were like doing better than me, so they were like reminding me, no, it's not that, it's this. I thought it was pretty cool, there are some things that we use in the house now, and that, not a lot, but some, and I guess something that we can share as well.
I was told there was elders that spoke some, but in private, not out loud. Yeah. I learnt some language, a bit of language off my daughter, but I didn't pull it right through, but still learning, which, it took time, I'm still learning. I'm still trying to learn it.
But I guess if you're not using it, you're going to forget it as well. So I think that's important to have, to try and share it in that sense as well, so you don't forget it.
Learning language was something that I really wanted to do, because when I heard that my auntie and my uncle was doing it, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do it, it's so cool. And then when Auntie Petty said she was teaching it, I was like, I really want to learn language, because it's just something that I've always wanted to know. Like, so many people speak different languages, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so cool, I wish I could speak a different language. But like, I didn't know like where to go to for language. So then when I finally had that opportunity to learn how to speak language, it was something that I had so much fun doing. And I ended up teaching my nan how to pronounce some words, and my mum how to pronounce some words.
I end up being a cook.
But yeah, it's been really fun learning my language. It's helped me more with my identity and who I am. So yeah, it's really helped with that.
I guess something when we greet another person, we say Nagambi. I guess it pretty much translate, are you good? You know, when we're, I guess when we're saying goodbye to somebody, we actually say see you later, which is Nandawabi.
I think it's important to keep culture and language alive, because it's how we identify ourselves. It's who we are. And it's important to keep our culture alive, because we also want to share it with the younger generations. And the way that I do it is I would sing songs in Dharawal to my younger niece, and she loves it. She tries to sing along with me, even though she can't really sing it, but it's just a way for me to connect. And with my younger cousins, like, I like to go take them for walks and show them the things that I used to do when I was their age. And yesterday we went rock climbing, and on the rocks, and was showing them all the little fishes and the different little creatures and what we would call them. So it's just something that I like to do, just to show them who they are.
I couldn't say anything in only the slang, that's all. Wadjaman for white woman, Gabba for white man. There's a few others, but I just can't think of them.
It still lies in here about our language. We never had a language to share with each other. And I think that is the problem with our people, that there's a missing link, and it belongs side by side with our spirit. And that's why our people have got a lot of suffering and a lot of spite, because we're missing the most important thing in our lives, and that's the language. My auntie Kate Davison, she used to speak some Dharawal, and then Mum used to say it to me, but you speak Dharawal every day in slang and you don't realise it. When you're talking about dogs, mirigangs and lizards, you know, muckadams, and she said you speak it every day in slang, but it's just not right. Shouldn't be like that. Should be fluent. But that's what I'm belly aching about, and I will till the day I die, about how our language was stolen and now everybody's got to suffer. I'm finished.
I remember an old aunt, Auntie Vera Alton. She used to come out here when we were little, and when Nana'd cook a baked dinner every Sunday, a baked dinner. And when Auntie Vera'd come out, because she lived at Mascot, they'd go into the lounge room and they'd sit there and talk in the lingo to one another, and you couldn't go into the room. They'd just look at you, you'd turn around and you'd run out the door. And that was my grandmother and her cousin, Auntie Vera Alton. We've probably got a combination of Dunghutti and Dharawal language. When we talk, they say Biran for bread, Mangadan for lizard, Mandawis for your feet. And it's not so much with the words either, you know what I mean? That because we've sort of lost that and it's being revitalised or regenerated or whatever word you want to call it, is blackfellas always talk with their hands and their eyes and their heads. If you're in the city or someone you see another Aboriginal person, you might say, hey, or nod, or whistle a lonely. That was a way that we communicated, and we still do communicate today. So that's the lonely. But whistle louder, and that's what we do. We do it on the south coast, everywhere. That's the Aboriginal way of acknowledging one another. If you're a long way away from one another, they call that the lonely.
I don't really remember being taught words. I remember going to primary school and people going, what? Like, what does that mean about certain words? And I'd be like, what do you mean? What does that mean? Like, I thought everyone knew. And so some words like, I don't know, let me think. Yeah, Mundoe, I used to say, you stinky Mundoes. My cousins would make jokes and stuff, and like, I'd go to school and say it and no one understood what I was saying. So when I was doing the Dharawal language learning, lots of words were just reinforced that we already knew. Just, I guess, labelling it Dharawal language was like a wow moment, that we've always had little bits, a lot missing, though we've still always kept those little bits. Words like, I don't know, bingy for your belly, and burai for a little baby, and gujaga for children, and yeah, just there's many more. I can't think off the top of my head now, as you do, but they've always been there.
It's an automatic word, they're bingy, they say, they're bingy, they're having a baby, or having a borai, or, you know what I mean? That's just words that, or used to call the kids the good jaggers. Where's the good jaggers? Meaning little kids.
But it was always nice to hear the girls talking, but they wouldn't tell you a lot. They'd hear them having a little yarn on their own, but near the men, it was a no-no. We weren't allowed anywhere near where the men. They'd have their little campfire in the night, and they'd all just sit around and talk. I don't know the language because it was taken from us. We don't know any of the language. Some have read a few little things, as what we did know, what they were taught, but as speaking the language now, we don't know how. But my brother does it does welcomes the country, and he does it in our grandmother's native tongue. He can speak the language of Gunagara, because we're Bidjigal out here, and my grandmother's Gunagara up at the bottom of the mountains and over the mountain. That's her country. Yeah.
You'd hear Nan and Granny talking in the lingo as you're walking up to the house, but as soon as they seen you, they'd stop talking altogether.
That was my grandfather and her great-grandmother were brother and sister. Yeah, they used to talk the lingo. But they learnt, when we walked in.
They weren't allowed to go into pubs. Like if they got the tram, because I remember the trams running out to Lapra, if they got the trams, they were all made to stand up down the back of the tram. The government stopped them from talking in language, and it's the same as like everyone used to make their own bush medicines and things like that, and share it between families. They had to stop doing that because the government was arresting people and locking them up, and for using black magic. That's what they used to call it, black magic and witchcraft. And our parents and that they were discouraged from passing on a lot of stories like that, but they used to tell us, you know, like even because I used to remember going to the picture show in Maroubra, and they used to have a roped off area where you used to have to sit down the front if you was black. You couldn't sit with the general people that were in the theatre. And then I believe because of that, a lot of our parents were brainwashed. And it was just like, I'll tell you this, but you're not allowed to pass it on to anyone else. That was life in those days.
It's true.